Your Excellency, President Zelensky, President of Ukraine, ambassadors and ministers from both Ukraine and South Africa who are here. It is my distinct honor to receive President Zelensky here in South Africa, together with his delegation. President Zelensky and I have met on a number of occasions in various summits, and he's always expressed the desire to come to South Africa. And because of the links that we've had with Ukraine and himself, we thought it wise that he should come.
Thank you indeed. Dear Mr. President, Mr. President RAMAPHOSA, in every corner of the world we are fighting for our freedom in this full-scale war. For more than 3 years we are fighting against the occupation by Russia, against our people being prosecuted. There will again any sort of denigration of our people by the aggressors. We have a very fresh Russian attack this day. This morning, more than 200 aerial targets, missiles.
President Cyril Ramaphosa is about to make a very big mistake of his political career by wanting to welcome President Zelensky in South Africa. Guys, this move from President Ramaphosa, it is very strange, isn't it? And you, as a South African, you deserve to know the truth behind all this. We are talking about the same men who have just said in the parliament that we cannot be bullied.
And we will not be bullied.
Yet, he's putting up the red carpet and open up his arm to welcome the man who's well known as the puppet of the Western, the man who had nothing in his agenda than the one of the USA. President Ramaphosa seemed to forget things so quick. Not long ago, 7 African leaders were sent to Ukraine and Russia in behalf of the African Union in a peace mission meeting between African leader and Zelensky. This man who could not even show a little bit of respect toward this African head of the states. Instead of listening to what was their message, of course, he ended up treating them as beggars.
We're not going to ask for a favor, so we were not on a begging mission. Africa should never be seen as a continent that needs generosity. We want to be treated as equals.
Even though President Ramaphosa was firm in his message,
we are here to communicate a very clear message that we would like this war to be ended. We do believe that this is the time for both parties to negotiate an end to this war, because this war is causing a great deal of instability and harm to various countries around the world.
Regardless of this bold message coming from President of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, who was talking in behalf of these African leaders, while this message went in vain. Do you know why? Because this man Zelensky could not disobey his masters, who had told him to not listen to what African leaders have to say. It is obvious that this peace mission led by President Cyril Ramaphosa in behalf of African leaders could not come out with something positive if it is not the humiliation and embarrassment which President Ramaphosa with his people have to suffer over there in Ukraine. Yet President Ramaphosa, when he was given a chance to tell us what was happening behind closed door, he came and started defending Zelensky.
No, he didn't have any hesitation about talking to me. And in fact, I found him so warm and so open to chat. And the other issue that he touched on quite a bit was the food security issue. He didn't express any doubt or any hostility to me, and that's why I characterize the discussions as having been wonderfully warm, and we chatted about how we can enhance cooperation, and he invited me to go to Ukraine, and I said I would be willing to go to Ukraine once the conflict is over, and he accepted that.
And that was not all, because these African leaders, especially President Ramaphosa, had to suffer a certain kind of humiliation. Do you guys still remember when his Secret Service weapons were seized in Poland? Poland refused to let this cargo to go because they think that President Ramaphosa was in the mission and deliver weapon to Russia. Regardless of all this kind of treatment that President Ramaphosa had received from this man Zelensky, yet he comes and tells people of South Africa why Zelensky is welcomed in South Africa.
On the issue of President Zelensky is due to come to South Africa soon, and we are looking forward to welcoming him. Now, our objective in bringing President Zelensky here, or responding to his request that he should come, is that we want to enforce the message of peace.
But remember, the journalists did not ask President Ramaphosa this question out of nothing, because there were already so many rumors of what had happened in Ukraine. Guys, come to think of it, what is the purpose of a Zelensky visit to South Africa? Well, Vincent Magwenya, who's the government spokesperson, have to come and explain everything.
President Ramaphosa recently met with Minister Lavrov, and the president did inform Minister Lavrov that he has invited President Zelensky to come to South Africa. President will be reaching out to President Putin once more, and they're in constant communication, but he will be reaching out prior to President Zelensky to once again affirm that alignment, that it will take commitment to a peaceful resolution of that conflict to set the two countries on a lasting peace.
Do you know why I say this is a very big mistake that President Ramaphosa is about to make in his political careers? Guys, I want you to listen to Ramaphosa's regards. Then after that, listen to what the Home Affairs Minister of DA have to say through his Twitter.
We continue to see Russia as a valued ally, as a valued friend, who supported us right from the beginning, from the days of our struggle against apartheid, right through to now.
Isn't it this more obvious that this Home Affairs Minister, who belongs to DA in the government of national union, he seems to be having serious problem with the decision of President Ramaphosa's closeness to Russia and Vladimir Putin? Well, in order for you to understand everything, let me refresh your mind this time by talking about this man. This is Andriy Sybiha, the foreign minister of Ukraine. About 5 months ago, this man visited South Africa, and we were all surprised when we saw the Home Affairs Minister, who's from the DA in the GNU government, had the courage to give a free visa to all Ukrainian diplomats. He did all this without consulting with anyone, not President Ramaphosa or even members of this GNU. He then went publicly to announce this kind of statement in behalf of South Africans. Why? Because he wants to pass a strong message in behalf of DA, who had to tell him what to do concerning the relationship between South Africa, Ukraine and Russia. And just because they don't seem to be speaking the same language here, they then need to do things differently according to their own view. And the worst part is they are doing all this without consulting with the head of the state, President Ramaphosa. Remember that the DA, they have made a statement saying that the DA, they have distanced themselves from the ANC with President Ramaphosa, who considered Russia as their biggest ally. DA leader John Stenizen told Ramaphosa that Putin is your ally and not South Africans. It did not only stop there, because he had to ask the government of national union to always debate on certain kind of positions which South Africa have to take before they get to announce it in behalf of South Africans. So it is normal for DA to go and back up their ministers. Meanwhile, South Africa Foreign Minister Ronald Lamola had hosted his counterpart, Minister Andriy Sybiha. During their press conference Ronald Lamola was asked this question to know whether he's aware about the announcement which the Home Affairs Minister had made and whether they had signed already this visa deal between South Africa and Ukraine diplomats. And this is what Ronald Lamola had to say.
I have already answered. Your question with regards to whether the agreement was signed or not, and I can't remember whether it's Sophie or who asked what exactly is the agreement about. The agreement on the waiver of visa for diplomatic and official passport holders is for easy processing of those who hold the diplomatic passport in terms of no need for visas and other logistics, and to make it easy for them to travel in between the two countries. So indeed, the agreement has not yet been signed. Once all the diplomatic processes have been concluded, the agreement will be signed, and we will announce once all those processes have been followed.
So you could see already that this is when the problem began between the DA and the ANC coalition. This Ukraine foreign minister was not welcome in South Africa because there were those ones who stood for him not to come in South Africa. Again here, it is a big danger which President Ramaphosa could have seen from far and tried to stop it. But where's the South Africans in all this? Of course, South Africans are not happy because South Africans, they've been grooming about this statement since the moment when President Ramaphosa had tweeted announcing the welcome of Zelensky in South Africa. Guys, I went through this post to get to see what South Africans are saying, what South Africans are trying to express themselves through the comments. Trust me, you won't like what South Africans are thinking about all this. For example, look at this Twitter from Slaughter. He said, "Oh Lord, what did we do as a country to be cursed like this? What sin are we paying for? What business do you have with Zelensky?" A question to President Ramaphosa. You are indeed a puppet. You should be strengthening our relationship with the US and not to be their enemy. Another Twitter from Oracle said, "We are slowly getting tired of defending you." I believe he's referring to President Ramaphosa, isn't it? Even though you did not ask us, we don't want any war. JJ Human said, "Why does Cyril try so hard to get South Africa booted from AGOA? First, foreign policy, blunders, now playing mediator. In a war, no one asked him to solve. While back home, the lights are off, the taps are dry, and unemployment is skyrocketing. Priorities right?" And they said, "Don't be a pause and found Zelensky when we have bigger issue in our country." It is more obvious that South Africans are not happy about all this. Why? Because President Ramaphosa, he did not consult with South Africans' opinion. You can go through these tweeters, I'll leave the link down below, and read for yourself comments from people of South Africa who are showing on how they are so unhappy about the coming of Zelensky to South Africa. Look, for example, this Twitter posted from Tembo Gotsi, who have to say that President Ramaphosa, his invite to Vladimir Zelensky serves no positive purpose. Zelensky should be going to Washington or Moscow to negotiate peace. When African leaders went to Kiev on a peace mission, they were treated with disdain, with clay racist overtones. And that is the fact about the visit of Africans in Kiev. Yet, President Ramaphosa is not paying attention to all this. What about Julius Malema's speech, where he had to come and contradict President Ramaphosa and say that no, we're not going to allow Zelensky to come here?
It doesn't matter what Trump will do to us. We support Russia because Russia equipped us, Russia trained us, gave us education, gave us money to fight with the apartheid government. We will never stand with Ukraine, and we don't want Zelensky to visit South Africa because he's a puppet of the Western forces.
Guys, it is even more obvious that Zelensky is not welcome in South Africa because, according to Flourish Vambo, who have to come and spill the beans and say that.
Strongly condemn Mr. Ramaphosa's misguided decision to extend the invitation to Zelensky, the puppet president of Ukraine. The MK views this move as a clear alignment with European and Western imperialist interests and an affront to South Africa's historical position of non-alignment and anti-imperialism. Accordingly, Mkhonto weSizwe will formally oppose any official visit of Zelensky to South Africa, and we will stage protest against the visit of Zelensky into South Africa. We do not want him to come because he has been a puppet of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization-led militarism, which sought to destabilize Eastern Europe and possibly the entire world through an unjust and unfair expansion of NATO forces.
Guys, Zelensky is not welcome in South Africa because all the politicians, they are standing up, putting their power together in order for them to stand against the government of Cyril Ramaphosa, which want to welcome this man who's being considered as the puppet. What about President Jacob Zuma, who's now wearing a t-shirt which has the face of Vladimir Putin? Do you know the message behind all that? This is a man who's trying to tell everyone that as a two Pan-Africans, I'm going to remain loyal to Vladimir Putin with Russia because they are our friends for so many years. Maybe you don't get that properly. What you need to know here is that Jacob Zuma have a very strong relationship with President Vladimir Putin.
You can't, in a neighboring country, bring NATO to interfere with Russia when you don't even want a country in the Middle East or Africa to think independently. You go there, you attack, you do everything. It's a one-sided discussion so far. But you need to find a solution to solve the problem. But people must be honest that in fact they are breaking the rules of the world because they are powerful. That does not help. And this particular war is in fact linked to the existence of BRICS. They don't like the existence of BRICS. And this started because they wanted to try to crush BRICS. But unfortunately, you can't crush BRICS.
With all this being said, what do you need to keep in conclusion? Well, the visit of Zelensky to South Africa, it will be absolutely nothing. It will be pointless. This visit will make South Africa spend the money which they don't even have. This visit will cost South Africa for someone who's not even worth it to the people of South Africa, to accommodate him with his people. All this, it is a real money that the government of South Africa will have to spend. However, again, the background of US-Russia negotiation, it is possible to spoil the relationship with both Russia and US. Why? Because South Africa can't consider Russia as their ally, yet trying to do things to please the US with their puppet President Zelensky. Because whether we like it or not, the coming of Zelensky to South Africa, it is not something which Russia with Vladimir Putin will like it at all. And if it happened that Vladimir Putin with Russia does not like this, they will definitely react against South Africa. In meantime, the USA, they've been already take things to another level between the US and South Africa relationship. Is that what people of South Africa want? No. Is that what's going to benefit South African economy? Not at all. So, my take in all this, I'll suggest for President Ramaphosa to kindly cancel this visit of Zelensky to South Africa because it's something which South Africans, they are against with it. South Africans, we don't want this man to be here because his presence in South Africa, it's meaningless for people of South Africa. So we don't need all this kind of dramas. Guys, I believe you also do have your point of view. Maybe you do not get enough chance for you to express yourself about it. That's why we're inviting you to drop us your point of view in the comment section below. so that we can also get to listen to what you think about the coming of Zelensky on the 10th of April. Share your opinion with us. Let your voice be heard out there. I believe that will be all for now. Continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind. Don't leave this video without giving us your thumbs up. Like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this to come. Until I see you again, for now, continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind. Have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.